Well, hello, Facebook friends, Instagram people, TikTok, Blue Sky, and whatever else, whatever social platforms that you're on, this is for you. And after 10 years of the Trumpian dark age, it started when he went down on the escalator, whenever that was in 2015. It's just been beyond a parody. I mean, no dark comedy can approximate it, say, other than Idiocracy, the movie by Mike Judge, which really seems prophetic. But there are a lot of different points that I want to make. And first of all, we're algorithmatized, that the social media make profits by making us stay in our algorithm and controlling our feeds so that they figure out what tribe we're supposed to be in, and they want to feed us, but they want us to argue and not try to get along with each other. And so when we argue, when you're pissed off or upset, you're going to stay online longer and engage. And this, I think, has a lot to do, this and Fox News has a lot to do with Trump being elected twice. I think he stole this latest election, but that's just my conspiracy theory. So the left, basically, my hypothesis that has historical basis behind it, going back to the French Revolution, is that people on the left are more divided amongst themselves than people on the right. I mean, there are divisions on all aspects of the political spectrum. But back in the French Revolution, when the terms left and right as political terms were invented based on where they sat in the assembly in France. And it turned out that the Girondists, to the moderate left, and then there was the Montagnards, were the radical left. They wanted to kill them, execute the king. So as the revolution went on, there are many phases of the French Revolution. And at one point, the Montagnards were chopping off the heads of the Girondists because they weren't hardcore enough. They weren't all to their level of extreme support of the revolution. This is my cheat sheet. But anyway, so that happened, that the left was divided amongst itself. And as time went on, what happened, the ultimate outcome of the French Revolution was Napoleon came to power and created a short-lived French empire, and he conquered, and he like all empires, it went overboard. It overextended itself. Napoleon overextended himself and tried to invade Russia during the winter, and then he got defeated at Waterloo. Then there's a conspiracy theory about why Napoleon got lost Waterloo, or that Lord Nelson, Admiral Nelson of Britain, won because he got backing from one of the Rothschilds. So the Rothschilds, so you get a nice conspiracy theory behind this, that they wanted Britain to beat France for whatever. But at any rate, to get back to it, the left was divided amongst itself, which seems to have led to Napoleon's. And Napoleon wasn't all bad. He supposedly ended feudalism, and he ended the Holy Roman Empire in 1806. But what happened over the 1800s is that Marxism was soon proven false. Even when the Communist Manifesto was written in 1848, there were a series of revolutions that same year in Europe in 1848, and they were kind of fake revolutions, and they didn't have radical left-wing leaders emerge. And France even got a guy, I think he was the nephew of Napoleon or something, and he proclaimed himself a dictator, and so it was
2:38 p.m.
But at any rate, that's part of the basic point is the left is divided amongst itself, and it makes it easier for people like Trump. It made it easier for Hitler. So if you go back to 1933, you had the Communist Party. Germany had two big left political, they had a bunch of political parties. But two of the big ones on the left were the Social Democratic Party, which really is more like FDR, New Deal liberalism, and sane social democracy type of government, versus the communists are very hardcore. And communism is a sham. If you study what Lenin and Stalin and what they did in Russia, was hardcore capitalism. They had a bureaucracy, a plutocracy, a bureaucratic elite, people who controlled everything. So it was a plutocracy, a super tyrannical, authoritarian plutocracy or totalitarian government. So it wasn't communism or socialism. And a lot of leftists in America were conned by communism. But at any rate, the Communist Party in Germany, basically, they had allegiance to the Russian Communist Party. And so they thought that anybody who wasn't a communist wasn't a real leftist. And so they were anti-social democratic. So that divide on the left helped Hitler come to power. And he didn't even have a majority of the popular vote. But he was a bully, maybe even better than Trump. I mean, he was a much more gifted speaker and manipulator of the masses than Trump, and so that gave him the opportunity to rise to power in 1933. And so we never learned the lessons of history. Again, and history is very, if you talk to those dumb young people, they don't really know their history. So we're just repeating the same patterns going back to the French Revolution to get where we are. So this is just part one of my foaming at the mouth about politics. So you all have a great day.